Hey guys, thanks for watching Double Tap here on YouTube. In this clip from our latest episode, we debate the relevancy of Braille in 2022. Thanks for watching.
The latest tech.
People love iPhone, and it's an important part of our daily lives.
Interviews.
You see far too many products that come on the market that you look at that you say, was a blind person ever even consulted for something like this?
Accessibility.
The most interesting thing over the last couple of years is the emphasis on gaming and accessibility.
This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome to the show this week. I am Stephen Scott.
And I am Mark Aflalo. And Stephen, I've got a super important and extremely relevant question, at least for this week's show, to ask you. Are you ready?
I'm waiting.
Okay. Braille. We've talked about it before. We've celebrated the life of Louis Braille in last season, the creator of Braille, of course. But nowadays in 2022, is Braille even, still relevant? Are people still using it as much as they might have used to use it before the age of the smartphone and voiceover? You know where I'm going.
No. The answer's no.
No, it's not. It's not still relevant. What?
No, I'm kidding. Of course I'm kidding. What, are you kidding? Braille is the most important thing ever, right? When it comes to, look, it's as simple as this. If you're able to read and write, you're literate, and Braille gives you that literacy. That's what Braille is for. That's the purpose of it. Now, I don't read Braille as well as many people do, especially people who've been born, who are born blind or even low vision who learned Braille, because as a kid, you're a sponge. You just pick this stuff up and it's great. But I still think, even for people at my age, in my 40s, I still think Braille is very relevant. I may use it differently to somebody who was born blind. They'll read everything. They'll maybe read lots of books and even letters and be able to print stuff out in Braille and use it for presentations and notes and whatever else. That's great. But I think for people of our age, it's more about labeling. It's more about daily uses. For example, you get into an elevator, you get into something like that, and then you want to know what floor number you're pressing. Being able to read the Braille that is in there to tell you which floor number you're on can be really empowering. I was on a cruise ship. I was able to read the information about where I was going on the ship because it was all brailled up on the walls of the ship. So, just having that ability to read that can really help and make you feel that you can still get access to information. And you know what? I'll be honest, Mark, for me, one thing I've noticed over the years is my inability to spell the way I used to. I was brilliant at spelling as a kid, and it's just fallen away because I can't visually remember the words anymore. And the other day I was trying to type out the word collaborate, and I could not think in my head how that word is spelled. And it was really irritating me. So, with Braille, being able to actually feel out the letters and get the word, it sticks in your head. That's what literacy is, and that's why Braille's important.
You bring up a very interesting point there, because I think it's similar to us no longer remembering phone numbers. Back in the day when cell phones first became a thing, you'd have to remember everybody's phone number because there weren't things like contact books and address cards and these giant contact lists. Like my kids these days, they know my phone number, they know my wife's phone number for emergency, but everybody else is a contact in their device. It's not phone numbers, it's not addresses. Other than the important thing is they just don't remember it because they don't have to. Is Braille similar to that?
I think it is similar to that. It's interesting that you bring it in that way because that's the truth of it. The reality is we're in a situation where we have a lot of information we have to remember, and blind people do have to remember a lot. Which is why I think something like Braille is good, because you can note it down. Otherwise, noting something down means taking a voice note. That's fine. My eye condition brings around a strange feature, which is number dyslexia. So I can't read a number. I can't look at a number and read out 0, 1, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's very difficult to read because I have nystagmus, which means the numbers are all moving around all over the place. So I can't look at a number and make sense of that. Words are a bit different because you're seeing it as a whole rather than as one or individual letters. So for me, having a note written down doesn't do anything. If I take down a phone number, it doesn't work. Or if I have it in Braille, I can just go through it stage by stage. And I've found that it's actually quite liberating to have that available to you, to be able to take a note, to write it down, to be able to read it back. And do you know what? The other thing I love about Braille is it's silent. Not maybe typing it out if you're using a Braille, a Perkins Braille, which is like bang, 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 as you're hammering out the Braille. But reading it back is silent, and that's beautiful in an age where everything around me constantly talks.
I got to give you a little bit of a behind-the-scenes story, which was super intriguing to me. Grant Hardy, who's a contributor to this show and a contributor to AMI, was on a couple episodes last year. One of the ones we were actually talking about Louis Braille, and I was blown away by his ability to read Braille off a Braille keyboard, because he was able to be looking at the camera and able to literally read the script without me realizing he's reading, because his hands are doing the reading. So there really are benefits to having a Braille keyboard, and a benefit to that intersection of technology and this language. And I loved it. I'm like, oh, that's such an incredible advantage that he has there. And he didn't seem as blown away as I was, but to me it was like, my God, that gives you such a great advantage to be able to do that. You don't have to worry about trying to memorize everything. It could all be there at your fingertips.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the way around it for me is I have a note document or a text document on my computer, and I store everything in there. But that means that anytime I need to pull out information, I have to sit down at a computer to pull out that information. That's not practical. That's not practical for a bank card number, or if you're having to give your card number to someone to make a payment over the phone. That's not easy to do. It's not simple. It's not practical a lot of the time. But having something you can just put in your top pocket in a piece of paper, the way that most people might, it might seem a bit old-fashioned to some people, but actually it's very, very powerful. I think it is anyway.
As you can tell, obviously, this week we are talking all about Braille, and there's a specific reason for that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I wanted to flash back to an episode from last season where we talked about a new device they call the Holy Braille of Braille tech. So stick around. This is Double Tap TV.
You're watching Double Tap TV. Get involved. Follow us at Double Tap On Air or email us feedback@doubletaponair.com. Double Tap TV will be right back.
Thanks for watching Double Tap here on YouTube. If you're not already subscribed, please do that so you don't miss another video.